All right, dear viewer, many thanks to you for joining us on the program, The Arena, on Aneke Television. And today's episode, we're going to be taking a searchlight on INEC's warning against early campaigns in Nigeria. Well, issues that matters are rising. And to do analysis of this very important matter on the table today, we have the chairman of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Enugu State Chapter, with us today, in the person of Barrister Fabian Nwibo. I choose to address him as the super comrade. Comrade, it's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you, Mr. Chris, for inviting me.
Thank you for availing us your time, despite your tight schedule.
I'm grateful, sir.
All right, so what is going on within the political space? We want to talk politics because somehow the body language of politicians is even gone beyond the level of body language these days. Suggests that campaigns have started, but then this is still 2025, not even 2026, the year of primary elections by political parties. Before we begin to talk about the election year itself proper, which is 2027, this is still 2025. Barrister Fabian Nwibo, here we are in 2025, just 2 years into a new administration. And the year 2027 is beginning to ring bells, even to the child, the unborn child in the mother's womb, as if 2027 is tomorrow. Are you concerned about this before we get to what INEC is actually trying to do? Are you concerned? Are you worried?
Yes, if I want to take a tour from the state mantra in Enugu State here, that tomorrow is here.
Okay.
Then you will now say that
tomorrow is here development-wise.
Take it that
so
tomorrow
not
is here.
necessarily tomorrow is here for 2027. Anyway, go ahead anyway.
So, but in real sense of it, it is very, very wrong to commence campaigns and other political activities that border on campaign for 2027 election while we are still in 2025. The law is straight. The law provided for when to commence campaign and when to stop. But you know, in Nigeria, anything goes. Whatever you think you want to do, it's almost a lawless system. God forbid. If we go by the law, or by our law, Section 94 sub 1 of the Electoral Act 2022 provides that electionary campaign should commence 150 days before the election day and will stop 24 hours before the election day. It also went ahead to provide or prescribe punishment for those who may default. Though the law also created a vacuum because it provided for punishment for any person, political party or individual who decides to campaign 24 hours to the election. I think it provided for, Section 92 provided for about maximum fine of 500,000. But that of 150 days before the election, no punishment was prescribed.
No punishment. And that's a lacuna.
That is the big lacuna. And of course, our people always take advantage of any part that the law or whatever has failed, the regulation has failed. So I think this time around that they're trying to amend the Electoral Act, the National Assembly should look at that. You can't provide for 24 hours to the election, then the 150 days, which is supposed to be the main period, because this provision has some implications. If you don't have a period within which politicians can campaign or political parties campaign, it then means it will be difficult for you to track money, finances spent during the election or campaign. Of course, it's expected that a political party or individual should not spend within so amount to so amount. But if you can commence campaign at any time and end at any time, how can the regulatory body track the finances that go into election?
So are we saying it's the fault of the law now?
Yes.
It's the fault of the law?
Yes, the law. And even our people who always take advantage of every illegality. Yes, it's the fault of the law. If the law have provided, of course, you know, if you make it a street liability offense, maybe if you start your campaign earlier than 150 days before the election, that we're going to disband you. then political parties in power will use it as an advantage. They will just throw one stick or even to come, and once you talk, you're captured and you're disqualified because they're looking for a way to have their way. Yes. So I think that's what the National Assembly considered when they didn't give that very strict. But for me, it would have been once you start before, you're disqualified. But if you try that, the people in power will use it against the opposition.
Now, maybe we may need to look at what really makes a campaign political campaign. What really qualifies an outing, a process? Campaign, political campaign. Is it when a governor has executed a project and he wants to go commission and is assuring the people using such opportunity that moving forward more will come? Could that be said to be political campaign? When you have a president or the president's wife moving from one place to the other in the country, canvassing support for the continuation of her husband in office, as we see the First Lady of Nigeria doing through the Renewed Hope Initiative, are these forms of, one would say, political campaign? What really specifies?
There are basic things we look out for when you're talking
as?
about campaign. You see the flyers, you see the campaign posters, you see issues like what is your second point, the second leg of your opinion, when the wife of Mr. President is moving from state to state to seek for support. That's campaign.
That's campaign.
That's campaign. But for a governor to go and open up projects he has concluded or flag it up or whatever word you may decide to use, that one for me, it's within the duties of the governor or the chief executive to let people know, I have constructed this table. It is going to be used by students for reading. I've done this, I've done that, I've done that. And if you give me further opportunity, that one is by implication. If it becomes obvious, it's campaign. If the essence of coming is to tell people, remember 2027 is by the corner, you have to vote for me because I'm giving you a table, that's campaign. But for you to come and say, I'm commissioning this classroom because when I came in, I noticed that we don't have enough classrooms for the pupils, for the students. I've decided to enlarge, to increase it. And I've come to commission this one to ensure that our children have a convenient place of studying. At the end of the day, you go. Within the duties, the responsibilities of a chief executive. But when the wife of a governor begins to move from local government to local government and say, well, you can see my husband is building schools, he's building farms, hospitals, is making up and down for people to wear and look good, and therefore you should vote for him come 2027. What's campaign? What's better than campaign than that? Presidents have started campaign.
All right, let's look at endorsements. Now we see wives of governors, not necessarily the governors, but then the wives as well, or even some bigwigs around political parties, in some states, moving around seeking for endorsement from stakeholders, from the people, on the incumbents in their states.
Those things are also wrong, though they are not as effective as when the chief executive is
directly
doing
involved.
Yes. Because, of course, people, they say out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth can speak, or begin to speak. People may be happy either by way of selfish purposes, my pockets are filled, or that this man is really working. And they decide to say, come 2027, no, if he continues this way, we'll support him. It could be considered a campaign depending on the circumstances within which that endorsement, is performed. But if it is a situation where a governor or thereabout, like I said initially, comes out of the wife or the relations and are saying, you can see my uncle, the governor, is doing very well. He has done this, he has done that. The essence of all this is to make sure that by 2027, these are campaign. These are campaign.
So,
and what we're saying is that once you go into all this, or all those, you find out that it will be shrinking opportunities for deliverables. The political parties and individuals who are occupying the political space will begin to concentrate more on announcing themselves, and their office, what they want to do, what it is, than doing the actual thing, giving the people services, that ordinarily would have been their purpose of coming to the office. So I think one of the reasons why they are limiting the period within which is to allow political office holders to concentrate and work. The first time you come in, please concentrate. Just like when we heard that subsidy was gone, or is gone, on 29th of May, 2023, a very terrible day for Nigerians. The question was, you're just coming into office. You don't even know whether it is a green, white, and green office. You don't even know whether it's a black and white office. You don't even know whether there is AC in the office. You just came out and say, this office is bad. Haba. It was too early an announcement, and that's what we are suffering today. I'm pretty sure that if Mr. President have had the patient of coming in to study the office for 6 months, that decision wouldn't have. Even if he's going to remove fuel subsidy, he would have taken time to put some cushioning on grounds before you begin to remove. It was I don't know, a blanket remover.
Even I wouldn't want to drag or drive you to that quarter or corner now, because that's actually away from what we are looking at on the show. But then, since you went there, some of us are really not comfortable with the Nigerian Labour Congress on the outcome of your encounter with the federal government over the subsidy removal, because we understand you threatened strike. To a reasonable extent, there were protests, and then the federal government called you to a meeting where they came up with some cushioning, palliatives, which up to now Nigerians have not seen any of those palliatives, given to them. Yet the removal continued, removal of the subsidy, and we've not heard from the NLC. You're not in a hot seat anyway. That's not our focus on the program.
No, it's a free question, and I like to address it. You may not be happy with the position of NLC, maybe from the angle you're looking at it. If NLC, honestly, is not there, by now, most of you, people like you, Chris, would have been in Ghana or in the next country, Cameroon. Really? Because the country would have been so hot for you to stay or survive. Okay, imagine all NLC is doing, you are still complaining. Assuming we were not there. When that announcement came and we said, no, the issue of minimum wage came on board and a whole lot of things, we're doing a lot of things simultaneously. If you insist that you want a COP, if it's not a COP, it's nothing, and you don't want to look at, assuming they want to give me this COP, and then deny people of other things, a lot of Nigerians who are not within this sector, the formal sector. You just blindfolded yourself, you want this. If it's not that, there's nothing. Then you have also gotten it wrong. So the challenge the NSC have had is that while we negotiate, we also look at those who are in the informal sector. For instance, when the minimum wage issue came up, we said at least 250,000. The man said, you want 250. Okay, we will give you 250. But you allow me a free hand to place fuel price at any amount I want. And we start looking at, if we allow this man to place and decide to sell fuel at 5,000, how about the SMEs? These people that depend heavily on fuel and gas for them to operate, and it is from hand to mouth.
And they are not salaried.
So if you insist you want to get 250 and live fat, and over 65% of Nigerians will go into a deeper crisis, economic crisis, would that pay you? That was why we would send us so low. So what I'm trying to say is that NSC is not as if we will come and go. It is, you continue to bargain. You continue to, try this one. If it doesn't work, you try the other one. It doesn't. Try the other one. It doesn't. And if we're not making all those trials and coming close, honestly, I said, Chris, you wouldn't have been in this country.
I think I will need to talk to my producer. We'll need to have you come around, because we'll need to look critically at these issues surrounding, what do we call it? The
minimum wage.
Minimum wage, because we understand the last time you met with the president, he said the law around the minimum wage should be reviewed downwards. Instead of 5 years.
No,
it should now be 2 years.
We proposed that 3 years.
And he accepted it?
Yes.
3 years?
Yes, one of the success we achieved.
So
because 5 years is a lot of years. Within 5 years, whatever you may have gained must have been eroded by inflation.
And by a calculation, the 3 years is about elapsed.
Next year.
By next year?
Yes. We have even started shouting, because if you look at the 70,000 naira, what can 70,000 naira do for anybody?
So enough of that matter. We'll bring you here through my producer so that we'll take up on these issues again. Super comrade. Back to the matter. So as things stands now, the bell of 2027 is ringing very loud. Everywhere you go, 2027. Barrister Fabian Wibo, this is 2025. The current administration is just barely 2 years. Barely 2 years. Aren't you supposed to be dealing with governance now before politics? At what point do we draw the curtain between this and that?
That is, I've already talked about that, because I said that I think why one of the reasons, that the framers of our law had to limit the period within which to political parties and individuals participating in politics to campaign, is to give space for persons in authority, the politicians who have taken over office, to have a time to work and deliver the deliverables. But because our people abuse a whole lot of things. Once they see opportunity, okay. Also, because of what Nigerians are going through, everybody now wants a change. Nobody wants to wait. In fact, for Nigerians, they think they want to that tomorrow to be here, but tomorrow is here.
Back to that slogan again.
Anyway, they want tomorrow to be here.
Let's quickly go on this break. When we return, the conversation continues. Please don't go away. We are still here. Welcome to Aneke TV, the heartbeat of culture, truth, and innovation. From breaking news to inspiring documentaries, from grassroots traditions, mysteries of life to global perspectives, we'll tell your stories. We amplify your voice and your vision. With every screen we light up, we connect, inform, and empower. It's more than a television. This is Aneke TV. We move with the world. All right, everyone, you're welcome back to the program. It is the Arena on Aneke TV, and Barrister Fabian Wibo is still very much here with us. So, Deba, before we went on that break, as a matter of fact, yes, you were saying Nigerians are going through lots of economic hardship occasioned by certain policies of government, and possibly, maybe some Nigerians are clamoring for change. But then the drum is beating too early. That's our concern within the media space. And INEC has just issued a warning. Aside INEC, we have a senior advocate of Nigeria, Falana, who has come out to ask INEC to prosecute these politicians who are already beating the drums of political campaign too early before the time. Do you think INEC has what it takes, apart from INEC just issuing warnings? Do you think they have what it takes as INEC, the electoral umpire, to prosecute offenders now, as Falana is asking them to do?
My challenge with this scenario situation, the scenario I've painted, is that I already told you that there's a lacuna in the law. The law provided for punishment for persons who campaign 24 hours to the polling. Now, it did not provide any punishment for those who may start earlier than the 150 days. That's the big challenge. So INEC is there as a regulatory body, but INEC cannot prosecute, as far as I'm concerned, where you cannot raise an offense where there are no punishments. Every offense must go with a punishment. So if you say, okay, take for instance, before now in Enugu State, we don't have anti-kidnapping law. So yes, before some years back. So if you are involved in kidnap, police or prosecutors will look at one criminal offense or charge and place it, because we don't have
the anti-kidnapping
law provisions that will say if you do this or you do that, this will be done unto you. So once you don't have that, it's difficult to prosecute.
But now the anti-kidnapping law
yes,
is in
we have
place
it.
now.
Of course,
That's
we have a national. We have it in the state, and such that once you are clamped, you go in for it. The law is expressly stated. So in this case, if there are no punishments for those who start early, how do you prosecute them? What would be the offense? How do you charge them? For now, what we have is Section 2 says 500,000 for those who may campaign 24 hours to the polling. But now that we are talking about 2 years before the election or thereabout.
2 years.
So how do you go about the prosecution? That's a big question. And that's where I'm looking at it from. If the law is there and with punishment there from, then it would have been easy to say, INEC, what are you waiting for? Even the police who is saying, I'm going to prosecute, we're waiting to know how they will go about it. Because which part of our law have said that if you start earlier than 150, which the law have prescribed, that this will happen to you. And the law just said 150 days before the election. So they did not say, if you start earlier, this will happen.
Now for you, you've already established that point. The problem lies with the law.
Yes.
And your recommendation is for Electoral Act amendment.
To be reviewed, yes.
To be reviewed. Do you see that coming soon? Electoral Act amendment.
I think the process is ongoing in the National Assembly already.
Electoral Act?
Yes.
Or is it the constitutional review?
No, Electoral Act review is ongoing. Yes, INEC, I think I've also made a proposal to them to look at these lacunas and fill the gap. In fact, one of the reasons why INEC is just warning is because of what I've just told you. They know that their hands are tied. What will you say? You want to prosecute somebody for offense that never existed? Because if you have offense, there should be a punishment. You can't, nothing stands as offense without punishment.
And that's why sometimes we begin to come up with this question. Why do men obey the law? Do men obey law because of punishment, sanction? Or do men just obey the law because...
If there are no sanctions, nobody will obey the law. If there are no sanctions, of course. If there are no sanctions. If the MOT are not there, will clamp you and you pay 25,000 or whatever. Do you think anybody will stop at the red light or green light or yellow light?
But then there are people who are just...
there are leftists everywhere. If they are not there, what is the business of a law? It's one of the business of a law to look at them.
Barrister Fabian Wigbo, will you agree with me when I say politicians, for them, it's all about the next election? For the politicians, their concern is about the next election, which is different from when you have statesmen who plan for the next generation. The politician plans for the next election. Apart from those in office now, in the elected position, who may be angling for a rerun, okay, since the law permits for a second tenure. Those in the opposition camps, what do they need to be doing now so that they will not be overrun by the people who are in office now when the campaign bells will be ringing? Because sometimes in politics, if you don't begin early, you may discover that you'll be given the back chair. I don't know if you understand my point. For those in opposition, those who are promising Nigerians the change we just talked about now, when should they start? Do you think the time allotted for campaigns to begin will be enough?
The campaign, ordinarily, if you are interested in running for an office, you should start doing things that will convince the people that you are going to do one or two things.
Things that will convince the people.
Things that will convince
Now you are going to be our political advisor. Things like what?
For instance, the opposition parties,
yes,
they have a lot of things. Nigerians are suffering. Assuming I want to go to Senate, and of course for you to run for a central election in Nigeria, you must have some level you're operating at. And there are people around you who are suffering under the present economy. And you are watching them and waiting. When I become a senator, before I remember you, you're not serious. Only to 150 days to the election, you come and start promising them, if I will go there, I will water you, I will fire you, I will do that. You are not serious. It begins now.
So what should they be doing?
That's what we're saying. You take care of issues and people around you.
Is that not another form of campaign?
No. Campaign is when you begin to make pronouncements about this. Are you telling me that those people I help, I pay school fees for some people that I'm campaigning? Campaigning for what? Which
Maybe
position?
we don't know you as a politician yet anyway.
I am. And very soon you will know. But what I'm doing, I'm not doing them in the name of campaign or just to campaign to people. But I think this one is a brilliant child. He need to go to school. There are no money. I think I have a spare money I can use to pay the person's school fees. There are basic things you could be doing, services you render to the community. There are things you be doing that will show people that actually if you come into this office. I know a governor in this state, before he became the governor of the state, had asphalted the road to his community. I don't want to two things. Before he even declared I want to contest, people were like, this one that is giving us through, doing this, paying bills for people and doing all those. What is he up to? Eventually they came to know what he's up to. Because he's now the governor of the state. So the opposition to start something, they should start working from the background. You don't have to wait until 150 days that the law prescribed before you start carrying bags of rice and so on.
So start making meaningful impacts
to the society, to the people. Exactly.
But not necessarily making
campaign. Maybe I brought this food to those who are hungry because in 2027 I'm coming to run for this. No, that's campaign. Yes, there are 1,001 things you could do for your community, for the people around you, for the society at large, without making pronouncement. Like I've given you an instance. Somebody came home with his hard-earned income, gave his people kilometers of road, gave them water, boreholes, did a lot of paying school fees for people for so many years. And after some time, he came out and said, I want to run for the office of the governor.
Before we go, 2027 is coming. Does Barrister Fabian Wigbo has any political interest?
Barrister Fabian Wigbo is a civil servant.
Today?
Yes. And he's going to work till 2027. So, unless and until that idea of going into politics outside of the civil service comes, Fabian Wigbo is a civil servant.
That's certainly a good place to leave the discussion today. There you are. We appreciate you, NLC Chairman Enugu State, for coming to the show today.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, people, let's go now. My name is Chris Anibogu saying let's keep watching. Participate, because political participation is just the way to go with political development. Bye for now. This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.